finally walk.
So we're streaming. Well, is there a recording? It might be recorded. That's when I hover over the little. This call is being streamed publicly and might be recorded. Can't give you all of that information.
Yeah, it's it will be.
Yeah.
It gets saved on YouTube, and I'll just download it from there.
Okay.
To put the audio out as an episode. All right, technology. Oh boy, someone should give a 10 to 20 minute presentation on how all this works in a fun and relaxed setting.
With drinks flowing.
Oh yeah, always better.
But now,
Ricky, where are you today? You're on the road or are you at home?
I am in Northern Kentucky. I am at home doing as much prep and putting together materials and pre-press for our film production company, Inkawai Films. We're going to be releasing at the end of September that within the next calendar year, we're trying to do 2 feature films, one which will be filmed in December for a budget of around $7,000 to $10,000. And then in the summer, another film that will require between $40,000 and $50,000, but is a much bigger scope. Again, that's no money for a movie, but for us, it's the most that we'll have had. So just feverishly,
Go crazy on craft services.
Yeah,
Red Vine,
make everybody happy. Yeah, make everyone happy on set. We made our first feature for under $6,000, and we made our last movie that got picked up and distributed by Troma for just a little under $22,000. So we're trying to just to make sure that we can make something. We're releasing this idea that like, oh, we're going to do 2 micro budget movies in 1 calendar year. Isn't that crazy? Come support us. So we'll see.
How was your Troma experience? Did you deal with Lloyd or somebody else?
Oh, Lloyd. A couple people here and there, but Lloyd directly a lot of it, and he has been a delight. He has aged tremendously, I think, in the last few years. It's everything you'd expect from Troma. Like everything, it's haphazard. Nothing will happen unless you are the one that puts it together, and you just kind of have to like reach out to them and be like, "Can I do this?" And they're like, "Of course." Lloyd Kaufman from Tromaville. That's how he starts every phone call.
I have innumerable Troma stories from 24 to 28 years ago, most of which are not good. So I'm glad you had a good experience.
Oh no, I mean, like I could shit on. I will say this: we have not been promised anything that they have lied about or not done.
Great.
That there has, as far as I am aware, there has been no shiftiness. But here's the thing: is the agreement that we made is they own the movie in perpetuity. Sure. I mean, we own 30% of it, and Lloyd was very upfront and was just like, "You're never going to make another dime off this movie unless something like crazy happens." And we were like, "Yeah, we're using this our second film, using it as a stepping stone." But I mean, yeah, that's
great.
They are their own worst.
Yeah, there was a 2 weeks ago in Los Angeles, there was a 2-day Troma. So screenings of Kabuki Man, Romeo and Juliet, the original Toxie, and something else. And I went to undergrad with the guy who wrote Romeo and Juliet.
James Gunn.
No, it was so Andy Diemer wrote it, and then James Gunn ended up directing it and putting his name on it.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So Andy's okay with it. Right. And then I had been asked to write the sequel to Kabuki Man, which I did. And then that all never happened, obviously, either. So we were going to go to so Andy also lives there. So Andy's on good terms with them. He's great. And so we were going to go just to watch the movies again. And then I decided I couldn't bring myself to it and Passed.
Our movie, and I'd be happy to send you a screener link for it. It is the consistent review that we're getting for it is this is the best trauma movie ever made.
Great.
In the sense of that it isn't just vile, just
Sure.
jerking off and poop and just all of that. Well, I mean,
Well, my note was you needed more of that.
Sure.
Right. You sent me as like way more people need to be cranking it in this movie. That was even before trauma was involved.
So the movie you didn't remember.
That's my note for any movie. Right?
Yeah.
For Trauma Wood, that festival that was going on or whatever. I think it was.
That's what it was.
Was that Gardenia Cinemas? Or I know they did something there,
brain something. Brain crunch. Brain.
All of that had been put together. Mr. Melvin, which is the re-edit of Toxic Avenger 2 and 3 that Lloyd's new assistant Andrew put together. The original assistant, and I know he goes through them like underwear or something you would go through a lot. Garrett was our original go-to with trauma, and he was a joy, and I think he's the one that actually read our script and was just like, oh, we should do this. Like, it's a musical, it's offbeat, like this is something we should do. And he talked Lloyd into it as much as I'm sure you can be talked into it during the time of the movie being made. And we had our budget too. Like, the movie was already getting ready to be made when they came on board. So it was just a bonus for us. It switched hands from Garrett to Andrew. And I was like, all right, what is the plan? Like, when we get this thing ready to release, are you going to put us on podcasts? Like, do you have a rollout plan of theaters and all of this? No. And so I luckily, because
you've got a podcast. Great.
yeah, do it on your podcast.
Perfect. That's the plan.
It was all in my hands again, like it has been with doing stand-up or with films. I had to be the carnival barker again, but luckily having the Trauma moniker, it did open a few more doors. Also kept a few doors shut.
Sure.
But I put together, I contacted and got email and phone contacts and reached out to every independent movie theater in the United States that is not run by a corporation or, a bigger conglomerate like Regal or any of those. And I said, I had this idea for a roadshow called Hands Across Tramerica. And I was like, selfishly, let's have Sweetmeats be the headliner. It's the new trauma movie. And you should do 3 other greatest hits trauma movies. So I was like, do you own Cannibal the Musical? I was like, use that because people, even if they've seen it, they might not have seen it in the theater. Trey and Matt, Romeo and Juliet, use the James Gunn of it all. Like, show the original Toxic Avenger with the new one coming out. And then they were like, great, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take all of your contacts and everything you put together, and we're going to do what you propose, but we're going to make it way worse. And we're going to sandwich your movie with 5 other brand new trauma movies from the last 6 years that nobody has ever heard of. So your movie will play terribly.
Fantastic.
And
what could go wrong?
And we're only going to allow you to have these Hands Across Tramerica screenings at these like 5 theaters, and we're going to use all the other contacts you got and do things that like RIP of Mr. Melvin and whatnot, and do the Trauma Wood and do the Gardenia Senate. So everything I had put together, like, great, your movie's not going to be part of that.
A+ work. That's a lot of the posts that I see because I started following Lloyd after I talked to him on the phone about the soundtrack stuff. Is like, we're looking for people to work on the next trauma thing. Of course, it's not paid. It's like, well, I don't know. Kick rocks then. Pay people to do work. You chumps. That's not just for them. That's for everybody. But I think we should probably officially introduce the show. Yes. This is Daddio.
Yes. Hey!
Podcast with me, comedian Glenn Tickle, my friend Ricky Glore, a comedian. And this week we have a guest. Boss is the term, right, for Nerd Night? We have Nerd Night Big Boss, Matt Wasowski, whose name I've only read. I realize I've never said out loud or had to. Did I do it? Did I do a good job?
You did a stellar bang up work.
Perfect. I'm just desperate for praise. Welcome to the show. So we talked about Nerd Night a couple weeks ago here on Daddio because Nerd Night Lehigh Valley is back. For a long time, I ran it as Nerd Night Bethlehem, and then Da Vinci Science Center in beautiful downtown Allentown, Pennsylvania, wanted to bring it back. So when they contacted me, I believe they reached out to you about doing it, and you're like, well, Glenn's kind of got dibs on that territory. So I was trying to explain sort of the Nerd Night structure to Ricky, and I feel like you could probably do a better job of that than I did. But if you just want to give a brief intro to what it is and how it works, if people are interested in seeing one in their city or starting one in their city.
Structure is we'll use that term very loosely when it comes to Nerd Night. Yeah, so the way Nerd Night works in any town on this great blue marble of ours is that so first someone has to come to me. So Nerd Night is over the years been in over 200 cities now globally on a monthly basis, a lot of places, and never once have I contacted someone. I never once said, hey, Glenn, you should start Nerd Night in the greater Bethlehem, Allentown, Lehigh Valley metropolitan state games land area of northeast Pennsylvania. It's all people who either have been to it into a city, they move somewhere else and they miss it and they want to start it, or somehow a friend tells them about it, something like that. So it's all incoming. I don't have the hubris to dare say, hey, this is such a good idea, you should do this in your town. Nor do I have the energy to hassle someone to or talk them into it. But I do. So I have a day job, but the majority of my week is spent getting folks up to speed on how to make sure that Nerd Night is consistent around the world. So if you're starting Nerd Night in a new town, first, really the only rule that we have is that you must have been to Nerd Night before at least once. Just so you see what the heck it is. You understand the format, you understand the spirit of it, you understand the balance of formality and informality, which is really sort of the key of I think what we do here. I'm always amazed by how many times I get an email from someone saying, hey, I want to start Nerd Night in my city. And I said, great, which ones have you been to before? And they say none. And I'm like, well, you should probably go.
But I did.
Because does that sound familiar? I don't know. I'm like, you should go and see what it is you're asking to take on. I would never say, hey, I want to start this thing called Burger King, having, never eaten a Whopper before. Or, hey, I want to start my own Ford factory and, build Mustangs and not be able to drive. So it seems like a reasonable ask. So anyways, so I'm glad when the Lehigh Valley folks came a calling from the Da Vinci Science Museum. They said, hey, I've got this experienced, handsome young man who can help you out here, and it was a natural collaboration.
Yeah, because I've been wanting to bring it back, so I put it on a brief hiatus because I got very busy with stand-up.
Neither of you have explained what it is. You're like, there's formalities. You should go see it if you want to do it.
Minute.
Yes, you should talk more about the specificities of it before anybody that's listening has any idea. How about we get a general rundown?
So the way it works is someone tries to talk for 20 minutes and then we just constantly interrupt them at every possible turn so they can't finish a goddamn sentence.
It's a great formula.
No, so it's
I'm sure that seems like a good idea, Ricky. Should I set the stage? Should I say should I talk about what the heck Nerd Night is? Would that make sense?
Yes, because I thought it sounded fascinating, and that's why I was so jazzed of just being like, I love the positivity of this kind of show as a live show and kind of the beacon it sends to the kind of audience that it wants there. And that is very similar and at a crossroads where I'm at right now. I'm just like, oh yeah, this level of show is, from just even hearing it from Glenn, this is the kind of thing that I would want to go to if it was close enough to me, and B, something I would want to be a part of because this sounds like the kind of art that I want to see happen more.
Thank you. Those are nice things to say. Crazy, but nice. Yeah, I mean, so a Nerd Night show typically consists of 3 presentations that are 18 to 21 minutes long, given by a mostly expert in that subject, but delivered in a very just a very fun yet informative manner. Presenters, you could be talking about neuroscience or cancer research or the science of comedy or the history of trash in New York City, whatever the topic might be, is delivering serious information, but in an informal manner. Presenters are encouraged to show some fun slides, some fun pictures, weird AV clips. They're encouraged to swear or use weird pop culture references, whatever it is that can make a complex or important topic as accessible as possible. When I talk about my day job to my father, I use extraordinarily simple terms because probably more for me because I don't understand what I do either. So it's if imagine you're in a room with 50, 100, 200, 300 people who are all drinking. You want to entertain them, you want to inform them, and so whatever by any means necessary to get a complex idea across, we encourage you to do that. And that's also important is that nerd nights all take place in either comedy clubs or music venues or art spaces, breweries very often, because we want to initially or immediately have the venue sort of set the tone that this is going to be just as social and entertaining as it is serious. And then I think the audience sort of self-selects itself where, hey, I'm someone who A, wants to drink, B, wants to learn something, C, wants to be entertained, D, wants to hang out with other people who want to drink and learn and be entertained. And, it makes for a very, very supportive and enthusiastic audience. Everyone's there for a good time. No one's there to heckle or be dicks, which is great.
Yeah. Of all the ones that I've hosted, and I've done a couple other cities nerd nights as well, I can't think of a time where anybody was like as disruptive as they might be at a typical comedy show, where sometimes people might like over enthusiastically want to ask a question mid presentation, and then you're just kind of like, oh, we're gonna do a Q&A at the end, just like hang on to that question for a couple minutes.
Yeah, if that's the worst that happens to you, great.
Yeah, which is fine. Like that's
yes.
Has any of the subject matter of the presentations, have you heard, Matt, ever riled up an audience where they're just like, oh, I'm not going to be silent during this. I do not like the subject that you were talking about or the way that you were handling said specific topic?
So really, honestly, so somewhere I did the math recently, and we've had somewhere between 22 and 24,000 presentations, and literally that's actually never happened. Where it does happen, it comes down to the graphics. We have, we've had medical examiners give presentations. We've had lots of doctors, lots of surgeons, lots of vets. So we'll show some pretty gory stuff on the screen. So we do get complaints about that to the point that we sometimes do have to offer disclaimers ahead of time. We just had a presentation by a doctor in New York City who has started to really get back to the land and recommend maggots for cleaning up really dramatic, really gross flesh wounds. So we've disclaimed that before. Be like, hey everyone, you're going to see some real fleshy gross stuff with little white things crawling. So
it's one of those things where it's like, man, that's so interesting. I'm going to go get another drink, but you guys have fun in here for the next couple of minutes looking at maggot photos.
Yeah, that's kind of like me trying to watch anything that's a syringe. Yeah. I tried to watch the Pit recently and couldn't get past like 10 minutes of the first episode because it was.
People keep telling me to watch it, and they're like, "Oh, it's so accurate." I was like, "I'm not a doctor. I won't know that it's accurate. I won't appreciate that aspect of it. Is it yucky? Because if it's yucky, I don't really want to watch it."
Yes, and it's so extraordinarily yucky, and
yeah,
I draw the line there, which is weird. So I've learned recently through Nerd Night is that I am able to look at absolutely horrifying real pictures of real people going through just terrible things. But when it comes to a stage TV show or movie, I have to look away literally every single time. So explain that to me. I need a presentation about what my brain's doing.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a reason. We'll get a neuroscientist in here to crack that case. But we got put in touch because, like you said, it's a lot of times people will go to a nerd night and then reach out about wanting to do one. Chris Cummins asked me to do Nerd Night Philly. If anybody wants, I checked the Nerd Night website today, and his presentation on ET is like top. It's in the banner. It's a great watch because, oh boy, does that man love talking about ET. And
oh boy, does that presentation take a dark turn toward the end.
He did that
at a dark adult turn.
Yeah, he came and did that at Nerd Night, Lehigh Valley, and it was the one that
came at Nerd Night. That might be true.
It was the one that my parents decided to finally come to, and it's like, all right, you guys.
Oh, sweet! He's going to talk about ET. This is going to be fun. And
yeah, well, my parents are weirdly supportive.
So Ricky, do you know how this presentation ends? Do you know the adult version of this?
I can guess just from the way you all are talking about it, and being a comedian myself, as Glenn and I have talked about, like, we can pretty well guess if you took out the punchline of a joke, if you just gave the setup, we'd probably be able to write it. But yes, tell me how, or don't leave it up for mystery for the audience.
Let's just say that
Okay.
amid the furious interest and the explosion of ET at the time, there were parodies, some made for adults, specifically with ET.
ET falls in love.
Yeah,
physically with
yes,
I think multiple humans, if I remember the clip
with multiple humans. Yes.
What that love light do?
Yeah.
What that finger do?
Oh, he's putting on that.
Is it all set to Neil Diamond?
That finger, the finger goes places.
And my parents are very supportive of me as a comedian and always have been. And my mom doesn't come to a lot of shows just because she goes to bed at like 6. My dad comes to a lot of stuff, but with Nerd Night, they're like, I don't know, we might sit this one out. It's not really ours. But then they're like, oh, I mean, he seems to really like do it. We should probably get to one of these. And they came to the one where my friend came up to talk about ET getting railed. And it's like, oh, all right, good pick, Mom and Dad. But yeah, I did Nerd Night Philly. I think he asked me to do it because I was at the time trying to break the world record for Dr. Mario. And he asked me to talk about that process and the game. And I went down and did it and had a great time. And with the slideshow aspect, because I was doing a lot of stuff at Steel Stacks in Bethlehem at the time, I was like, this would be so fun to do in front of a giant movie theater screen, because that's where they did a lot of the comedy events. And it's like, yeah, this would be great to do there. So I'm like, I'll run it by them. And then he gave me your contact. He's like, yeah, talk to them. And we talked about this when Ricky emailed you initially. He's like, yeah, he got back like right away. And I'm like, yeah, that was kind of my experience as well. It's like, oh, I fired it off probably like 11:30 at night. I was like, hey, I'm thinking about, maybe doing a Nerd Night in Bethlehem. And then pretty quickly you're like, yep, do it. Here's the rules. Here's how it works. Here's the art of the glasses to put on the logo. Go nuts.
Yeah. I have email anxiety, so I'm perpetually at inbox 0 in all my lives. If I try not to get, if it takes me longer than an hour to respond to anyone, then something has gone terribly wrong. So, I can't see a list of things.
Yeah, I have to reply immediately or never is kind of the way it works for me. It's like, if I can do this right now, or it's not going to get done.
It's the same as text messages. Like I do not. Gosh, I was doing a past guest Tyrant and gosh, why am I losing the name of the show, the Tyrant podcast, where you become a
Tyrant in training
of your own. Tyrant in training, yes. He brought up, he shared his screen, and he had something like 30,000 unopened emails, and I was just like, oh, how do you live? Like, how do you not just like throw that computer in the ocean and start over? I know that's not how email works, but it's the same as my wife. Like, I'll look at her phone and she'll have like crazy amount of unread text and unread emails. I'm just like, I can't do that.
But those are humans who are trying to get a hold of you and they're seeking information and answers. I don't know. I feel like it's bad manners.
Oh yeah,
that's the Midwestern. I don't know. Someone's asking you a question. You should give them an answer. Whether or not they want to hear it or not, that's up to them. But give them an answer. They deserve it. They're nice people.
I have notifications off for almost everything on my phone. There's like 3 people who, if they call, it will ring. Everybody else, sorry, you're going to voicemail. Text messages, I will get like the red bubble, but it doesn't make a sound or interrupt what I'm doing. It's just like, oh, if I check my phone, I will see that I have a text message. But if you text me, I'm probably not getting it right away. And that's by design. It's just like, well, because my ADD is bad enough where it's like, if my phone beeps, that's going to throw off the next 2 hours. So I need it to not. But with email, it's set to, there's like a couple, there's
Refresh
like a list.
every January 1st.
Yeah. Well, there's a list of like accounts that it's like, well, this is time sensitive, right? Like if my cruise agent sends
how do
me
you
an
know?
email,
Any random email could be time sensitive. Anything.
I mean, it could be, but it's the
insane.
If you want to make your boner bigger
for
them,
this email.
you know, or I think like stuff that is probably going to be about booking will show the red dot on my email icon. Everything else, it's like I'll read it when I have time to sit down and read email. Like I don't.
But how can you set up the rules in your email inbox to be smart enough to know which is a potential booking email and which is not?
It is mostly about who is sending it.
This is his next nerd night. He's gonna do a full-on presentation on how to organize.
I want to see all the rules and conditions in your.
Here's
email
the
filter.
insane way that I manage who can and cannot get a hold of me at any given time. No, it is mostly about who's
that would
sending
be that would be a good show. I don't know if you heard. So I've been trying. So the last year in Los Angeles, we've done 4 shows. It's called 3 Spreadsheets to the Wind. And it's people showing off personal spreadsheets they've made for personal use. And it's been effing delightful. So I feel you could do a spin-off version of that of Glenn's email rules, regulations, and conditions.
Yeah.
I'll
have to list them all out because it is truly like if my kid's school calls, my phone rings. If like it's the beginning of the year, so like now if their teacher calls directly, sorry, voicemail, I don't have your number yet, teacher. Emails from them, it gets flagged, like I'll get the red icon on my email if I get a school email. But most of the time it's like, here's info about the bake sale. It's like, okay, that's like I need that information, but I don't need to stop what I'm doing to get that information. If a booking agent that I've worked with emails me, I will get the red dot. There's a site called The Bash that I book a lot of stuff through. They email and text, like if a lead comes through, I find out about that because that can be pretty time sensitive sometimes. Because sometimes people want to book me specifically. Other times they're like, we need a comedian. You're within the distance that we will.
You are an alive human.
Yeah. Right. So a lot of times those are just like whoever gets back to them first with a price they're willing to meet gets the gig. Yep. But like my mother-in-law watches my kids a lot. So like when she calls, it rings. My parents don't call me a lot. So if they're calling me on the phone, that's probably someone died. So like then, yes, like that rings. But like if Ricky calls me, you got a voicemail, big man.
Bye.
Because like I'm sure
I would watch this presentation. This is your next show.
I wasn't joking. I was not being sarcastic. Yeah. There's stuff like this that I think, because what you've touched on, and obviously a big thing that Glenn and I have just discussed with comedy, is just the relatability. You either have people who I think are tired in training, or my wife, who do things that way. There are people who are on the complete opposite end, like I think the 3 of us, as we've all mentioned. That's why when you replied so quickly, Matt, I was like, oh, I like him. Like, I don't even know him. The things that I do know of him, orchestrating and being big boss of Nerd Night, and then him responding this quickly, love it. You could have just responded, hey, it might take me a couple of days to get back to this, but I'm just letting you know I have this. Curry's so much favor with me, like already off the bat.
Nice. See, manners. It's great.
I mean, you said Midwest. Where did you grow up, Matt?
I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay. Yep. So I'm Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area. Glenn, you're in New Jersey. I don't know what that says about you. That's not You're East Coast. That would be considered East Coast, correct?
New Jersey?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
we are famously on the East Coast.
But I'm saying, like, what is
I don't
that
understand.
region? Because I'm technically not.
Oh, it's the Mid-Atlantic region. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. I didn't know what the name was for that, but I do think there's a level of manners and politeness and things that we equate with respect that even with technology, we're just like, it makes us feel good, and it makes us feel like that we are presenting ourselves in the best way possible.
Since this came up, can I run this by you guys?
100%.
Workshop it.
What if we said no and we just ended the podcast?
Like,
Midwest hospitality. Fuck you.
I've got better things to do right now.
Yeah. I've been trying to think of the best way to word this, but I think it is rude to comment on a social media post by a person who doesn't know you.
We could play the Jeopardy theme song.
I'm deliberating.
Like, that doesn't
mean it's rude, or
I think it's rude.
Odd?
Or I think it is more often than not rude. Like,
okay, can I ask a follow-up question to that?
In general.
Yeah. Hang on.
If the comment,
what's your follow-up
if
question?
it is a positive comment, is that still rude? Or is it only if it's a negative or neutral comment?
That helps it be less rude. But I think it's still... I just think people aren't taking into account when they're commenting on stuff, their relationship to the person to whom they are commenting in a way that, like, in real life, right? If you go up to somebody you've never met, right? You just happen to be at Denny's and someone's got a cool shirt on. If you're like, hey, cool shirt, they're not going to be like, how dare you interrupt this grand slam? But if 1,000 people go up to them while they're trying to eat eggs or whatever, and they're like, hey, cool shirt, hey, cool, like, that would be maddening, right? Like,
but those are, I mean, that's the level of celebrity, or the level of the, God, I feel like you've used the word specific a lot. The specific situation of just like, oh my gosh, what is that shirt? That it sets off this, like, seismic reaction bubble that a revolving door of people going by.
The context or the situation is situationally specific is important.
I think if it's Brad matters.
If Brad Pitt's wearing this Dolly Parton shirt and he's sitting at Denny's and he has 1,000 people that come up, yes, is it rude because you shouldn't just be interrupting Brad Pitt? But why are they doing it? It's because he's a celebrity. Why do so many people comment on social media posts for celebrities that they do not know, that they know no one will read that comment unless they are trying to either troll or, I don't.
My dream setting for the application Threads, which is the one I probably use the most now, I want to set it to anytime I post something, the only people who are allowed to reply are people who follow me. I would say ideally people I follow, but I don't follow a ton of people, and I don't want to, because a lot of times what happens is I will post a joke and then people will reply to it either not understanding that it is a joke, or they clearly don't understand what jokes are or how somebody might attempt to write a sentence that's funny and not some kind of personal attack, or they will try to explain.
That's impossible.
Right? Yeah. Or sometimes, a lot of times jokes are based on like, oh, I'm going to pretend to not understand this thing so that I can make a joke about it. And then they're like, well, let me explain the thing. Or you can just not talk to me because you're a stranger on the internet. But the reason I want it to be that people have to follow me is like, well, then you have to go to my profile page. You have to see that I am a comedian because it's there in the bio. And then that might make you for half a second think, oh, the thing he wrote is a joke. I should not reply to it in the most serious, humorless way possible.
All right. Well, I will give the most humorless, boring answer now that I've had one.
No, in this context, that's what I want.
People love podcasts where it's boring and
unsatisfying. I think as Marshall McLuhan famously said 50 years ago, the medium is the massage. It is social media. Therefore, people can respond to strangers as much as they want. I think it's that particular platform. I think when you get into someone interrupting my moons over my hammy at Denny's, I think the circumstances are vastly different. But social media, the algorithm, it wants the.
I will agree with you that
unsolicited stranger comments.
I will agree with you that people can do it, right? But we can do things that are rude, right? Like you're not prevented from being rude. It is just a choice you are making. And if I see a comment on social media that I want to reply to, I do take my relationship to that person into consideration in both whether or not I comment at all or what I am commenting. If it's like, if BuzzFeed,
does it depend on whether you're going to reply positively or negatively?
I very rarely reply negatively unless it's to something Ricky puts up or my nemesis Ben Youngerman.
Or unless you're getting somebody's back, like that. Sometimes you will reply to a negative comment and then block that person just so they know.
Yeah,
that you saw.
I block.
That'll show them.
Yeah, I block people all day, every day. It's great. But I try not to post negative comments on the internet because it bums me out.
Right.
But if BuzzFeed posts an article and I have an opinion about it and I reply to who? BuzzFeed, the idea of BuzzFeed, like
Mr. and Mrs. BuzzFeed.
Maybe their social media intern will read it. They probably won't. Or I'm just going to try to start an argument in the comments with strangers. I don't want to talk to the strangers.
That'll be super productive.
Yeah.
And it'll fix everything.
I understand what you're saying, Glenn, because it feels like this lives in the same house as your comment of like, well, if I'm invited to do a stand-up show, you personally, you would think it'd be rude to go and talk about, hot topic or taboo things as like finances, religion, politics, anything that would divide an audience. So I understand why you were saying that it's rude, but I don't know if that rude is the right word.
That's kind of what I'm trying to workshop, because I feel like the wording of it doesn't really convey what I mean. Because I'm not saying don't ever comment on social media. I'm just saying, like, if Bill Nye posts something, right? I've met him a few times. He's not going to remember me. We're not friends, right? If I might reply to something, but I'm not going to reply to it in an overly familiar way. If Ricky posts something,
so that's interesting. I think the familiarity level is important.
I agree.
So I think that's a key point there, because correct.
Ricky did a video.
I'm not going to respond to President Obama. Well, not that I would.
Your best friend.
I don't know him. He doesn't know me. It's probably the world's fine that way. The same way that I would respond to my father on Facebook, who is probably posting pictures right now as we speak.
Yeah. Ricky did a video the other day of walking around a bridge shirtless, and I commented, "Hell yeah, nips out," or something similar, because Ricky is my friend. So getting to see his nipples on the internet was exciting for me. If some random stranger posts videos of themselves walking around without a shirt on a bridge, and I don't know that person at all, I would never comment, "Hell yeah, nips out." Like that would be insane behavior. And yet people do.
Welcome to the internet.
But, yeah. That is, yeah. But if the person seems to obviously it's intentional. If they're intentionally in a good mood about showing their nips on a bridge, then I feel that they would be happy to receive a comment saying, "Hell yeah, nips out." That would be very validating to whatever levels of insecurity they have to show those nips.
It could be. I wish I could remember who said it. But basically the idea is like, you shouldn't comment about someone's physical appearance unless it is something they can change about themselves in like 3 seconds. Where it's like, if you like someone,
but I think if you're commenting positively about it, I think they would be psyched.
I think they're going to be more forgiving of a positive comment than a negative one. But if I was like, Ricky, sick glasses, bud, you'd be like, oh, thanks. If I said your beard looks like garbage, like, yeah, you could trim your beard, but it's going to take you a couple minutes. That's not nice. But it's the thing of like, you shouldn't comment on people's weight because you don't know what their deal is in association to that. In John Ronson's thing that he wrote about Frank Sidebottom, he mentions, he's like, oh, the last time I saw him, we're like, oh, you're looking really good, like you look really skinny, and it's because he had cancer and didn't know it yet. So it's like, yeah, like that's, you're trying to be nice, but it's not actually that. It's kind of sad, actually.
I mean, comments online, you're also talking about it, like I said before, just context, because those things they live for how long. And so say you say hell yeah, nips out, or whatever, like I love
which will be the name of the episode, by the way.
Hell yeah, nips out.
Are you able to quickly change your nips, Ricky?
He can make them pointier.
Yes, that's I was. If I rub them, I think. Yeah, we're just all kind of saying the same thing. Like, because you don't want, if you made that comment on another dude or say a woman where you saw her hard nipples in a video, whatever, context, you don't want to look skeevy. You don't want her or that person to make it feel like, oh, I don't like the way that made me feel. Even if it was a positive comment, you're saying it to me because you want to, you are making fun of that I did a video promoting our upcoming shows that when this episode drops in Columbus, if you're in the Columbus area, #comedy club. Yeah, you're doing it to make fun of just like, oh, Ricky's making a promotional video with his nips. Like, I don't know. Like,
and I'm trying to get.
Are you going to show your nips in Columbus at the show?
Engagement?
No, I wish. I mean,
I've been telling people that you are.
Also advertising.
To Bert Kreischer it, yeah.
I believe I told a number of people that you would be fully nude. I hope that's okay.
If we sell out one of the shows, I will take off my shirt.
Or future guest Tyler Rothrock,
yeah,
just put out a special, and he did a Facebook post about it a couple days before the release, and I commented, "Is it okay if I'm fully nude when I watch this?" Because Tyler and I have been friends for about as long as I've been doing comedy. I think he started a couple months after me, so it's like, yeah, no, we know each other very well. We're very familiar. This joke is okay between friends, but if I just posted it on a random comics post about their upcoming special, that's lunatic behavior. It's arguably lunatic behavior doing it at all. But to me, making a little joke about watching my friend's comedy special naked. Also, I said it as a joke, but I watched it. I was in Austin.
How was the user experience that way?
It was great. I watched it on my iPad in a bathtub in Austin, Texas, which is weirdly a thing that I've done. I don't think it was in Austin. I watched Neil Rubenstein's special in a bathtub on an iPad as well. It's my preferred way.
No bathing suit.
Special.
No swim cap.
Just you hit the nail on the head. Your thing is you just think people are stupid and just should stop commenting on things that they have no.
Yes, that's what I want.
On commenting on, which is the exact opposite of Nerd Night, right? Those people.
So you just want people to have a sense of to only comment if they have a sense of humor.
I think
if they get it.
Comments should be turned off on most websites. When I wrote at Geekosystem, and then they let me be in charge of Geekosystem, day one, the meeting about any changes we were going to make moving forward, I was like, can we please disable comments? I don't care what these people think about what we are writing. And they said, absolutely not. Because it drives engagement. That's why things have comment.
Yeah. Generates synergy.
It's not this, utopian idea of we're trying to foster discussion. It's like, no, we want people to argue in the comments because then more people are going to read the article. Like that's, we want angry comments on our Geek News site because then more people will be reading it. You read the article once, you go back 40 times to check the comments. That's still 40 views. We don't care why people are coming back.
Yeah, because then we'll write an article if something happens in the comment section, or it gets shared something else that it explodes because of this hubbub. We'll do another article about that, and hopefully this thing will just keep on going.
If I post a stand-up clip, the only comment I want
eating its own face.
Yeah. Right. If I post a stand-up clip, the only comment I want is "This is very funny and you're a good little boy." Other than that, keep it moving. I don't need to hear if you like my jacket. I don't know if you didn't like one of the jokes. I don't know. Tell a friend about it. I don't need to hear it. You're a stranger on the internet.
What if they think your jacket made you funnier? Would that be important? An important comment?
I did. So I
bought I've seen him with and without his jacket, and with the jacket, way better.
I did some jacket-based comedy the other night because I bought a new blazer that's supposed to like travel really well and not be as sweaty on stage. And it's like a lighter blue than I would typically wear. And when I did a private gig in Austin, and the lighting there made it look like it was this really weird green color. And I don't love the color of the jacket normally, but like the green color made it look worse. And I was standing there, I was like, I just need you guys to know that this isn't the color that this jacket normally, I feel like it's distracting. Because you're going to look at it and think, why would he pick such an ugly green jacket? And I picked a slightly less ugly blue jacket. It's just the lights are weird. And then I just took it off and kept doing it. But like I've been getting very sweaty on stage lately, Matt. They got to laugh. People were into it. And then I took it off and everybody clapped. Which is, I guess, what you want as you gradually get naked on stage. I've been getting sweaty on stage a lot because of being in my 40s and starting Adderall recently. So I've been trying to figure out the best way to deal with that. This jacket is apparently not the solution.
Layers do not help sweating under hot lights.
Doing more sets from a hot tub or swimming pool.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna
shower.
That's gonna be the next live stream. I'm nude from a bathtub from my iPad.
Yeah, nude from the bathtub. Glenn Tickle.
Well, I was so excited because the hotel room in Austin.
You just have an audience member just spray you with a hose. You could do a wet Glenn show, wet Glenn contest.
Yeah, just get those like misters they have at theme parks.
Oh, it's actually. Oh wait, sorry. Wait, can I go off on a wet Glenn?
Absolutely. I've been talking about rude comments for a while. You take over.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So Ricky, here's some Nerd Night lore for you. For at least 15 or 16 years now, every now and then at shows we do a dry T-shirt contest. And it's literally just people from the audience who have a dumb, nerdy T-shirt on, and we come up and they explain their T-shirt to the audience, and you clap for them. Then someone wins based on who has the nerdiest dry T-shirt on. We did this very
overthruster T-shirt that I made.
There you go. You would get a decent round of applause. an acceptable amount.
Golf claps.
Yeah. So we did this very fancy show with the Smithsonian 11 years ago. It was the Smithsonian had a day of very fancy scientists talking about stuff, and then we came in and programmed the second day, and we brought in a bunch of weird nerds that made the Smithsonian edgy. But the point is that to pay for this event, the Smithsonian had a very fancy biotech company underwrite the whole thing. They paid for all the AV and travel for presenters. It was a fancy extravaganza. And so a week before the event, we had this emergency call from the editor-in-chief of Smithsonian Magazine, who and their event director, event manager, and me, and they were like, "Oh no, the biotech company is going to pull all of its funding because it saw that you have a dry T-shirt contest on the agenda for your show." And I said, "That is correct. Why is that a problem?" They're like, "That sounds very controversial. We don't want to spray water on people." And I said, "Well, of course, please let them know that they are grossly misreading it, that is the joke." Back to the comments, Glenn. But they 100% did literally not get the joke. I'm like, nope, it's just going to be a bunch of nerds on stage wearing dumb T-shirts, and that is it. They went back to the biotech company. Biotech company says, "No, that's way too racy, way too controversial." We're like, "Let me explain that to you again. It will be people wearing shirts with math formulas probably on their T-shirts. Yeah. That will be the contest." And they're like, "Nope, that sounds..." So finally, literally not until the day before, after telling them 10 different times that it would not be a wet T-shirt contest, it would just be dorks wearing T-shirts, that they finally relented. So in terms of people not getting jokes and having Glenn on stage doing comedy sets from a shower or hot tub or swimming pool. Yeah, it's a weird world out there sometimes.
It'll be like the episode of the Flintstones where they get Barney to join their barbershop quartet, but he can only sing well in the bathtub. So then for the show, they just wheel him out. They just wheel him out in a bathtub and he crushes it.
But see, again, that's what drew me to the idea of Nerd Night. I love that the controversy was they're just like, yeah, we're for all of this, but dry t-shirt, they didn't get the joke. So they were worried that you were doing wet t-shirt, the thing that they're familiar with. With going to see a stand-up show or a quote-unquote comedy show at one of the numerous venues like that you mentioned that Nerd Nights are also at, the thing that I am not loving about the comedy scene right now, and there's been plenty of years of this, the people that go are sometimes almost like they're being forced to go. And they're like, yeah, make me laugh. And they're just not in the right space to have a good time. We're hearing about Nerd Night. I'm like, oh, it's informative and people are going to be entertained. And I'm guessing they're going in droves and this is working.
So that's okay. So that's interesting. I was taken not against my will, but sort of against my will to a comedy show in Los Angeles 2 weeks ago, and I was that person. I was in I had a very bad day, and I was in a very bad headspace, and I didn't kind of want to go to the show in the first place. And like, you got to go. So I was the person. I was sitting in the second row, and I was trying to hide from like the comedian because they could tell, but I was just like, I am not in the mood to be here. And I think so. And I felt very sort of bad and guilty. And so I left halfway through the show because I'm like, I don't know, I'm not helping anyone in this situation. Either like I'm not helping the comedian on stage. I'm not helping the people that I'm here with. I don't want to be here. I should go. But I feel like that does not happen very often at a Nerd Night because maybe, I think people are just into what they're going to see. They think it's going to be a unique, different experience, and they do seem to be in better headspaces normally.
In the bar, it's almost like improv. For those situations, I feel like is lowered for the expectations of quote unquote what you find funny or the yucks. Right. Because you could go to improv, and if there's just a hint of something that is humorous or relatable that gets you to titter a little bit, you're more open for the suggestion of it. So I think again, the another thing that I found alluring about Nerd Night was, okay, you're going because of this concept, and the concept isn't make me laugh. And that to me is more refreshing now than I think it's ever been. And I think that has a lot to do with the climate of comedy right now and the audiences that are getting their comedy, whether it's through TikTok, whether it's through Instagram clips, or if it's live, and what those kind of comedy shows are.
Yeah, no, right. It's just the expectation, right? Expectation comedy show is make me laugh, make me laugh, make me laugh, make me laugh. Wait, I haven't laughed for 1 minute. Why aren't this is terrible? I'm not laughing. Right. We're going to Nerd Night. It's lower stakes. You will laugh multiple times, but it's not what you're going there for necessarily.
I think we talked about it
the whole package. Right.
Yeah, I think we talked about it last week. Of when I was booking Nerd Night Bethlehem, I'm like, oh, well, I know a lot of comedians. Like, I'll get them to come talk about the nerdy stuff that they're interested in, and those always tended to be the least funny. I think because the audience expects it to be a 20-minute stand-up set about whatever the thing is, whereas if you watch an astrophysicist talking about his telescope project and he gets a couple jokes in there, they land so hard because you're not really expecting them. You're like, oh, this is going to be interesting, right? I'm going to learn some stuff, but it's not going to be very funny. And then when it's a little bit funny, it feels better than watching, one of my comedian friends give a pretty dry talk about, I'll throw her under the bus because she's very funny, but my friend Emily Pochet did
take that, Emily.
Yeah, take that, Emily. She did like a talk about she did like sex ed talks as an RA in college. And I was like, oh, please come talk about that experience, because she was telling me stories about it and they were all wild, and not like, like the Smithsonian biotech company probably wouldn't have been into it, but it's not like, it's not over the top or anything, but it's like, yeah, I'm going to put a young woman on stage. She's going to tell funny stories about teaching sex ed, but it was just she just did the talk. She just did the sex ed talk. And there weren't that many jokes, and it wasn't like that salacious. It was just pretty much this talk you got in 6th grade or whatever from your gym teacher. And it's like, oh, this was not as much fun as I thought it was going to be. But then when we've had other non-comedians come on and then just like really crush because people aren't expecting them to be funny.
Right.
Whereas people are like, oh, Emily's hilarious. So if she's going to talk to me about trying to explain to 17-year-olds how sex works, this will be hilarious. And then it was interesting, Emily. I think you're very funny. Also, I think you maybe just got married. Congratulations. I haven't really talked to Emily in a while.
Hey, Emily.
Yeah. Or maybe engaged. I don't remember. Emily, I'm glad your life's going great. I think you're a nurse now. I'm going to call Emily after the show.
I hope she doesn't email you because she might not hear from you for.
Right, she's not. Yeah, if she calls me, she's going right to voicemail.
You should go through your inbox after this and make sure that you have something waiting from her.
Yeah, I mean, I mark everything as read because I can't abide, a big collection of unread emails.
Emily, if you wrote to him, he'll get back to you.
Yeah,
at some point.
I'll reply right away or never. That's the system.
Write to me, and you'll hear from me in a few minutes if I can fill the void of Glenn's lack of responses.
I'm going to check my email right now. Nope, nothing from Emily.
No.
She's not listening live.
No.
Emily, let your fingers do the walking.
Wedding planning to do? Again, I don't know.
She's probably getting over your rude ass comment.
Maybe. She's like, I thought Glenn thought that was hilarious. I don't know. I think she is hilarious. I just don't think her Nerd Night talk was.
That could be also the challenge that if you are.
Do you think did her talk land with her freshmen in her dorm? Or was suddenly at the end of the school year was everyone having babies?
I think it was
unprotected rampant sex.
It's just a real baby boom going on at whatever college she went to that I'm sure she told me and I don't remember. I want to say Kutztown. It might not have been. I'm just guessing a local college that I think she might have attended.
Not Shippensburg or Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
No, I think those
the
are further
impetus
west.
Of a comedian might be, and that might have been her understanding of it, and like what we just said about people who come in and are non-comedians and they get maybe more yucks. She was like, well, maybe if I just tell this straightforward without having that neediness of a comedian of like, I'm trying to get you to laugh, maybe it will land better.
Yeah.
Where it sounds like at the end of the day, if she had a do-over, it would be tell it either at the beginning or the end, or while you're going through the whole spiel, intersperse. And here's what happened, the funny stories that she was telling you.
One of my favorite ones that we had.
And then have a baby tell the story.
Yeah, and then this child was
born. Here's my child. Yeah.
At graduation, because I didn't explain contraception correctly. One of my favorites was a comedian friend of mine, and they also gave a very dry talk. Lemaire Lee came on to talk about, I think it was called Evo Moment 7. It's a thing from a Street Fighter tournament. And he had almost no jokes in this thing. He was just very passionate about Street Fighter tournaments. And he opened it. He's like, look, I'm going to show you a clip of people playing Street Fighter, and you're not going to get it, right? It'll be fun to watch because it's a good game. And then I'm going to explain to you why it's the greatest thing that's ever happened in video games. And that's exactly what happened. So he plays the clip and you're like, yeah, that person won that fight. Okay. And then he gets into the backstory of the players in the tournament, their like earlier tournament experiences, how the different move sets for the two characters work, changes from that version of Street Fighter from the last one. And then he's like, and now we're going to watch it again. And then he played the same clip and everyone goes wild when you realize why it was actually so impressive. And there might have been like some jokes to it, but like people are like leaning forward in the chair, like wait, because it starts out, he's like, just trust me, this is going to get interesting in a couple minutes. But he's just like laying out groundwork. And it was one of the most like well presented talks I think we ever had.
Yeah, got a whole arc. It's great.
Yeah. I still don't care about Street Fighter tournaments, but like
that's the thing. Well, that's what's been really, I think that's been one of the interesting key sort of findings or learnings of Nerd Night overall, is that you know, a typical night, there are 3 presentations. If the people who end up having the best experience in the audience are the people who know nothing about 2 or 3 of the topics that are being presented. Yeah, we find that 99% of the time, if there is a presentation, I don't know, about electrical engineering, and I've never even heard of electrical engineering, odds are that will be my favorite presentation of the night, because you somehow, I think that because the enthusiasm, the passion of the presenter, like really, it really is infectious. And I think when you just hear the delight in someone's voice of how psyched they are to be talking about this thing that they know a lot about, for some reason, it really just, it seems to rub off and make everyone want to kind of join and play along with them.
I dropped a link to the Street Fighter thing I was talking about. It's called Evo Moment 37. I was 30 off from what I thought it was. But yeah, that's what I love about hosting Nerd Night, is when people pitch an idea where it's like, I don't know anything about that, but you seem so interested in it. Like, I'm willing to be convinced that this is a fascinating topic. Like, show up.
Oh yeah, I mean, like when I'm receiving pitches from presenters, like the fact that they're contacting me at all makes me immediately go, all right, you probably know what you're talking about. And I don't even think about that. And the rest is just, do they seem excited? Do they seem interested? Do they seem enthusiastic? And that's what I'm paying attention to. Like, I'm not going to, if someone says, hey, I've got this, I want to give a presentation about Pluto, like, I'm not going to give them a quiz about Pluto to see, like, do you really know it? Like, I'm sure they do. And so it's really, it's do they have something, some semblance of charisma or excitement that'll kind of rub off on the audience. And I think that's really where the magic is.
Yeah, because we'll get we just had like a Google form for people to pitch me stuff, and sometimes people were like too vague, and that's why we didn't go for it, because they're like, oh, like I'll come do a presentation about Star Wars, and it's like, but what about Star Wars? Right. Like, the audience for Nerd Night would probably love a talk on Star Wars, but like, what is it?
And that's fair. Yeah,
we had I think I brought him on a couple of times, a guy named Thomas Harper, who like
he's the best.
Yeah, he is like competitive,
Major Tom
in the Star Wars trivia scene. So like, we had him on a couple times, and it's like, oh, he will give a talk about something very specific and make it very interesting and funny. So yeah, he did Nerd Night Lehigh Valley a couple of times, and we did like one half.
Yeah, Ricky, this guy, he's a JAG lawyer in the Navy, but he's the biggest Star Wars nerd in the world. So what he'll always do, a lot of his presentations are based on, taking laws in the United States and then applying them to situations in Star Wars. So
I think the first one he did was like, whether
Han shot first, does he have a self-defense case or not?
Han shot only. Let's get correct. In the OG movie, Han's the only motherfucker that shoots at that table. Like, that is cold blood. The weirdness of the history of that, and I know that's been beaten to death, is crazy.
I think the first one he did was he was talking about whether or not blowing up Alderaan counted as a war crime.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And we had one that happened to fall on May 4th. So we're like, well, obviously we're bringing Tom back, unless he's booked already. Like, I have friends who play in a Celtic band, and it's like, well, their St. Patrick's days are booked for the next decade. So I feel like May 4th is a busy day for Tom. But this was years ago, so we could still get him. And I forget, he gave a talk, but then I did a big slideshow of just like obscure background characters from the trilogy. And I had Tom compete with audience members for like, name this character. But some of them were, it's like, well, they're not named on screen, so unless you know it from, a novelization or something,
or a figure release.
Yeah. But yeah, he was great. He was great to work with. So it's like, oh yeah, anytime you want to come back and talk about Star Wars. But sometimes people would just be like, oh, I don't know, I like, chess. It's like, okay, well, what are you going to talk about? Like, I can't just have you ramble about chess for 20 minutes.
Chess, it's a game.
Yeah. Or dinosaurs was the example I would give, where it's like, a bad talk is about dinosaurs. A good talk is about the discovery of a specific dinosaur skeleton in one location and how that played out. Whereas like the specifics tend to make it more interesting.
Yeah, I 100%.
Or like, if you want to talk about chess, if you want to talk about, en passant and how that works and the history of it being introduced as a move, and that, like, yeah, great. But if you're like, here's the history of chess, I don't know, like, I could spend 5 minutes on Wikipedia getting that information.
Yeah, but Glenn's tawdry soap opera explanation of the chess scandal with Hans Gruber, and I know that's not his name, but it becomes a villain in it, like, and the whole butt plug gate that happened in chess. If you were like, I'm going to do a presentation on a very specific professional chess scandal that happened over the past few years, and then you threw to that, Glenn, I think that would be amazing.
Yeah,
because
I would love to do that
naturally be funny. Yeah, I think you could.
That one might be too tawdry for Da Vinci. I don't know if they want a butt plug based story. But the thing is, it's not like that's.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's not.
That's only that's just a
speculative.
Yeah.
Have you Matt done? Have you hosted and done some of the presentations in any of the Nerd Nights in the years that it's existed?
No, that is the joke. So I have fake presented several times, but I am not an expert in anything. So not really. I every September. So I still, even though I no longer live in New York, I started running the one in New York in 2006. We just had our 20th season premiere a few days ago. So we always follow the academic calendar there, because in New York in the summer everyone leaves and goes on vacation, so there's never an audience there. So we always come back in September, and for the season premiere every year, I do a world records presentation of weird world records that have just been set in the previous 12 months. And then I always pick one or two at the end that I think are actually beatable by the audience. So then we'll always do that on stage as a fun audience interaction thing. So I don't mean to brag or anything, but you are talking to the unofficial world record holder of tortilla throwing. I more than doubled the record a couple of Septembers ago. So
nice.
When you got all this, yeah.
What was the challenge of throwing tortillas?
Like so it's a 9-inch corn tortilla, uncooked, so raw 9-inch corn tortilla. Has to be thrown as a frisbee, can't be balled up and thrown like a baseball or softball. The original record was 63 feet. As everyone knows, a pitcher's mound to home plate is 60 feet 6 inches. I was like, somebody could only throw tortillas of frisbee as far as from like the pitcher's mound to home plate. That seems extraordinarily easy. So I came to the venue, myself and the bar manager, before the shows we were setting up. We're like, let's just test this out to see, make sure we're not really off base here. So we both went outside before the show started. We both grabbed a tortilla. My first throw is 95 feet. His next throw is 102. So instantly on the first throws, we like almost doubled record. Then we just kept going and exceeding it. And it was a terrible record.
I like that. Like you read the record, you questioned it. You're like, I don't know that it's that hard, but let me get the tortilla. Let me get all the 9-inch, the flat uncooked in my hand, and let's see how it really is. And like you do it, it's like 10 feet. You're like, oh, I suck. But like immediately, like blowing
instantaneously shattered it. Yeah,
I love that.
So at the end of the show, we got everyone, all of the audience, out in the street, and then on the side street in Brooklyn, it was just people throwing tortillas for 10 minutes. It's great.
You questioned your level. You questioned your level of respect of that record when you read it.
I did,
and I feel after attempting it once, you were just like, oh. That record means nothing.
That's how I got involved in Nerd Night in the first place. Was when I was writing at Laughing Squid, we would cover, if like an interesting record got broken, I would usually have to write it up. And then after a couple of those, it's like, what world record could I set realistically? Yep. What am I really good at? And I was like, oh, Dr. Mario. I wonder if there's an official world record for Dr. Mario. And there was, but it was a score. And like, usually I'm not playing for points. I'm just playing to like beat the other person or see how many times I can beat level 20 in a row or whatever. So I'm like, oh, let me fire it up. And then I played like a couple rounds to see what the score was and did the math real quick. And it's like, I can destroy this record. The problem was at the time doing like, it would have taken a while is the thing. And like getting a 4-hour uninterrupted video to submit was like still kind of a challenge in 2000. When would this have been? 8? What?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I guess I could maybe find like an old VCR with like an EP tape, and but now it's just like, oh no, I would just screen cap it. It would so easy now, but somebody destroyed the record. But then when I was going for the record, that's when Chris reached out about doing Nerd Night Philly. He's like, do you want to come talk about it here? And then I did, and it was
And you
a lot of fun.
You found the ideal forum, right?
Yeah. Well, we talked about, so when Nerd Night, Lehigh Valley came back, they just asked me to do like instead of a traditional talk, they're like, do you just want to do a stand-up set? And I was like, I would love to, because I have a lot of jokes that nerds will love that most general audiences don't seem that interested in. So I did them there, and it went great because, like, yeah, this audience knows what they want right now. Like they bought tickets to go to a children's science center at night and drink and listen to a DJ and then watch an otter presentation and listen to some autistic dork talk about the A-Team for a really long time. And it's like, hell yeah, they were so into it. And that's why it was a lot of fun. I've had to do a lot of presentations because people would cancel pretty last minute. So when I was hosting it monthly, it was like, well, I have to have one locked and loaded in case I get a phone call 2 hours before the show. So I've done quite a few. I liked hosting it more than presenting at my own, because going down to Philly and doing it with Chris is fun because I like Chris, and like getting to hang out with my friend is always nice. But when you're doing the presentation and then also trying to like moderate the Q&A of yourself, then it's a little less enjoyable. But
then you pick and choose the questions you want to answer. It's great.
Yeah. Doing the Q&A for something I truly know nothing about was always so much fun, because I would like take notes during the presentation. So I would have questions, but I know the audience would have some. And then a lot of it is like, do I have this question because I'm an idiot, or like, do other people also not know this thing?
Oh yeah, no. I approach everything as I am the idiot. So that's because generally I am, and you know, I still generally kind of go by the rule. If you have that one, if you have a question, 10 other people have the same question and they're just slightly more bashful. So
yeah,
that's
the fun thing about being the host is like, well, I get to be the idiot. Like, this person is the expert. I get to be the straight man and just be like the dumb who doesn't know anything. It's always been so much fun. So moving forward with Nerd Night Lehigh Valley, I think I'm going to encourage them to have it be a more traditional Nerd Night format. We were talking about last week. So basically there was the one talk and then the stand-up set, and then the rest of the night people could just like explore the Science Center. And I was like, that's great. I mean, people had a great time with the exhibits because it's like stuff usually designed for children, but you're, 35 and have a beer in your hand and you get to play around with like a oversized human heart model. Yeah, that's a fun time.
Great.
But I was like,
wrestle otters.
Yeah, like just do that. That part's from 5 to 7 now. And then at 7, everybody sits down and listens to nerds talk about stuff. And I host it because I like doing it. So that's what I hope we do moving forward. But it
seems like a very, very reasonable format.
They were having, I know, some internal meetings after the fact, because it sold better than they were expecting it to. We got, I think it was over 300 people. Wow. They got a lot of great feedback. I certainly had a wonderful time. When we were talking about it initially, I was like, well, we did Nerd Night Bethlehem monthly. I think they're mostly monthly, but they weren't sure that they could accommodate that. And now it's like, oh, I don't know if I can accommodate that because I've been traveling a lot more. So they're like, oh, we're thinking maybe quarterly. I was like, I can do quarterly. Yeah. I can block off 4 nights a year and not have to feel bad about missing out on other well-paid gigs or whatever. Again, it feels like it's so hard.
365 is a reasonable number.
It's so hard for me. Oh, all these people offering me all this money to go do stand-up comedy. Boo-hoo. I know. It's a weird it's a weird position. I've found myself the last couple months, Matt, of just like, man, I'm facing challenges that I don't think many people can relate to.
Yeah. It's a hard knock life.
And all of these rude comments.
And all these people commenting on my social media. All these plebes. How dare they try to speak to me?
And having to wear blue jackets that look green.
You
just can't win. You just can't
making
win.
Sure the audience knows that you didn't make a bad choice. It's the lighting.
Yeah, I did. It's
making sure the audience has a pose to constantly water you down so they can't see the sweat too easily.
Well, I think the reason I went with a lighter blue was the line in Steve Martin's book where he talks about why he started wearing white suits on stage, because like people in the back row couldn't really see him. And I've done a couple larger venues lately where it's like, oh, is this like, if it's a black curtain and I'm wearing like dark blue, am I just gonna like disappear?
Makes me, if either I want my $1 billion idea, just for football night games, whether it's high school, college, or pros, use a white football.
Yeah.
It just seems way better.
It would probably be easier for the players.
It'd be easier for everyone. Literally everyone. Use a freaking white football.
Blacklight football.
Everyone.
I'm thinking about
imagine watching baseball at night and they're using a dark brown baseball.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I was gonna say, I know the ball can get lost in the lights. Interesting. I wonder, that would be a fun like Mythbusters test or just a science experiment. Like, what would a color of a football be for the best possible scenario at a night game?
That high
would it actually look goofier?
I feel like that's the equivalent of using like a green golf ball. Like that's a terrible idea.
This golf ball is grass shaded. That's an SNL sketch if it's not been done already.
There you go. I get that. That's my gift to you both.
I mean, it's the same joke structure as the hosing Glenn down to hide his sweatiness, but get grass colored golf balls. So even if you suck at golf, you can lie to your friends and just be like, "Oh, that one went way."
Oh yeah, it's right straight in the middle of that. Yeah.
I think I hit farther than the hole. Like
you just can't see it. You just can't. Yeah.
I wonder how much of my lack of skill and of interest in sports is how bad my vision is, because watching like if my dad was watching golf or whatever, it's like, how do you have any idea where that thing goes? Like I would be looking for a golf ball for a week. There's no way I could.
That is a legitimate concern and problem.
I remember Fox years ago for hockey games did like digitally highlighted the puck because that was a problem for people. But then like watching hockey live, it's like, well, yeah, I can't see what's happening. I don't know where the puck is. I can see where people are skating, so I assume it's over there. But
watching hockey on TV, it's extraordinarily difficult.
Yeah, I mean, watching any sports for me is extraordinarily difficult. But
your vision and just your general your system, how broken you are, Glenn, as a person, just biologically, right off the bat, and hand-eye coordination. That probably is why do you have good hand-eye coordination?
Dog.
Besides Dr. Mario.
How dare you?
Catch.
I'm an incredible juggler, but I can't
I forgot,
do sports with other people. I can throw a ball to myself like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
I think it's largely a vision thing where it's like, because my eyes are very messed up, Matt. So I've double vision a lot of the time, and it's like, if you throw me your keys or whatever, I don't have an inherent sense of where they're going to be. But like if I throw my keys up, I know how hard I threw them, the angle, like I can.
You need all the context.
Yeah.
Like comments on social media. Yeah, we're going to wrap it up actually, because I have to go take my suit to the dry cleaner that I'm going to be wearing because I'm not going to be nips out on Friday.
Come on, get them out.
What color suit are you going to wear, Glenn?
I'm going to wear the jacket I was talking about.
Okay, so I'll not wear my bright blue. Matt, is there any final words or anything that you'd like to promote yourself or Nerd Nights coming up? As you mentioned, it's nerdnite.com, Nite, correct?
Yep. That is nerdnite.com. That is it. We have the worst social media presence on the entire planet. So if you find us, you'll be probably disappointed. Come see us in person because it's better that way.
Yeah, they are. Thank you, Matt. All the ones that I've been to and done have been so much fun. So I really do highly recommend Nerd Night to everybody because the topics tend to be pretty varied. So even you're like, oh, I don't like nerd stuff, there's probably going to be something that you could be interested in.
Yeah, every night's different. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, go in person. We don't need the internet. Stuff in person.
The person's like, in my presentation tonight is on Glenn Tickle. My name is Ricky Galore. Glenn Tickle is here. He doesn't know that I'm doing a presentation on him.
God, last episode of Game Changer.
Right. He's a great sportsman by him, solo sportsman. Fantastic. Other people, terrible. thank you, Matt, for coming on. And I hope to be part of Nerd Night in some way in the future at some time. Thank you guys for listening.
Louisville,
to Daddio.
Bloomington, it's right next door.
Yes. Yeah, an hour and a half. Next time that I'm able to like look at it and plan it in advance,
go to the Bloomington. Go to the Bloomington show. It's a
you think one. It's a better echelon of performer like talent?
It's very good.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for listening to Daddio. I'm Ricky Glore.
I'm Glenn Sickle. If you're listening to this the day it comes out or the day after, Ricky and I are at # Comedy Club in Columbus.
Come see us.
Yeah.
Thanks. Nerd Night forever and stuff. Bye.
All right.
Thank you, Matt. Again.
Great talking with you, Matt. Thank